Let me ask you something. Why do we sabotage ourselves? You know the pattern. You set a goal, you're excited, and something inside of you starts pulling you in the opposite direction. You procrastinate, you avoid, or tell yourself, maybe I'm just not ready. Deep down, though, you know you're standing in your own way. But self sabotage doesn't stop there, it shows up in relationships too. Sometimes when things feel too good to be true, we don't know how to trust that goodness. So we sabotage. Maybe we pick fights over small things that don't really matter. We assume the worst when nothing's actually wrong. Because deep down, we're convinced we'll be hurt or abandoned anyway. Here's the truth: self sabotage isn't random, it's actually a defense mechanism. Your mind sees growth, maybe success, or even love as a potential threat and tries to protect you from it, even if that protection is actually holding you back. But here's a question to sit with. What if your self sabotage isn't weakness or laziness? What if part of you isn't quote unquote broken because you self sabotage? What if it's actually the part of you that's terrified to grow, terrified to succeed, or even be happy because it just doesn't feel safe? So, in this video, we're going to uncover the psychological roots to self sabotage, including childhood patterns and the shadow self, why common advice like just think positive doesn't work, and what to do instead. I'll also provide you with some practical tools that you can start today to break the cycle and move forward with confidence. And if you're ready to go deeper in understanding and overcoming self-sabotage, check out my Resistance Reset Bootcamp. It's a hands-on program really designed to help you identify the hidden patterns keeping you stuck, rebuild self-trust, and create real momentum in your life. I'll share more about it at the end, but for now, let's dive in. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Francis. So let's take a look at how it all starts. Our childhood experiences shape the beliefs that we carry into adulthood. So between the ages of 5 and 12, we start asking ourselves big questions like, am I capable? Of course, the kid version. Am I good enough? And depending on how those questions were answered, whether through support, criticism, or neglect, becomes the foundation of our self belief. So, if you were supported during those formative years, you likely internalized the belief that you're capable and deserving. But if you faced constant criticism or felt ignored, you might carry beliefs like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed. I'll never get it right. Let me share a moment with you when self sabotage hit me like a ton of bricks. Looking back, there were, there were always signs, like little sprinkles of it throughout my life, but it became painfully clear when I found myself in a secure, healthy relationship for the first time, by the way. And for someone like me who had grown so used to toxicity and actually growing up in a really critical household, my nervous system didn't know how to settle into safety. I didn't know what peace felt like, so I fought against it. I grew up in a household that was pretty strict, and so I vividly remember catching myself creating problems where none existed. In this relationship, there wasn't any real drama. There was no yelling, there was no fights, and that felt actually pretty foreign to me. I was so accustomed to chaos and destruction that I actually started looking for it without realizing it. Like I knew how to survive in toxicity in a hyper alert environment, but I didn't know how to thrive in love and in peace, because vulnerability always felt a bit dangerous to me. And I seemed to always catch myself bracing for something bad to happen. But here's the key: I was able to pause and recognize it and have those hard conversations with my partner and actually work through it. And that's where the shift began. However, it didn't stop there. Self sabotage crept into my business too. Every time things started going really well, when I got into a rhythm with my business, I found myself running from it. I'd feel overwhelmed by the possibility of success and think things like, what if I can't keep this up? What if I really don't know what I'm doing? What if I can't handle the growth? And that would get in the way. And so those kinds of thoughts started to paralyze me. And so I'd sabotage the goodness trying to enter my life because I was scared of what it would all mean. But here's what I learned: self sabotage isn't about laziness, failure, a broken sense of self. It was just really about protection. My mind was trying to keep me safe from the unknown, even if it meant keeping me stuck. So here's where things get tricky about all this. Those childhood belief systems follows us again into adulthood, even when they no longer serve us. When your actions conflict with these deeply held beliefs, it creates something psychologists call cognitive dissonance. It's kind of like this mental tug of war between what you want and what you believe about yourself. For example, You tell yourself, I want to succeed or I want to accomplish something, but deep down, you believe I'm not capable. So that inner conflict creates discomfort, and self-sabotage becomes your mind's way of solving it. It's so much easier to avoid taking action than to face the fear of failure or challenge those deeply held belief systems. There's a psychologist, his name is Carl Jung, and he introduced the concept of the shadow self. Those are the parts of us that we suppress because we've been told that we're maybe bad or unacceptable. But these parts actually, they don't disappear. They pretty much hide in our subconscious and influence our behaviors. Think about it. If you were taught that failure is unacceptable, that belief just doesn't go away. Instead, it shows up as self-sabotage. You might procrastinate or avoid risks because deep down, your shadow is trying to protect you from the pain of failing. Self-sabotage isn't your enemy. It's your shadow's way of saying, hey, pay attention, pay attention. There's something unresolved here that needs your care, that needs your nurturance. So when you stop fighting it and start listening to the shadow self, you can then bring those hidden parts of yourself into the light and begin to really heal. So here's the shift. Instead of criticizing yourself for sabotaging things in your life, try getting curious. Ask yourself, what is this self-sabotage trying to protect me from? Who taught me to believe this about myself? Like, whose voice is in my head? And what fear is driving that behavior? When you reflect on these questions, you stop letting self-sabotage control you. You start working with it. So here's something that you can do. It'll take you 5 minutes. Take some time to reflect on a recent moment of self-sabotage. Write it down. Ask yourself, what belief was driving this behavior? How can I prove to myself that this belief isn't true? And what's one small action that I can take today to actually move forward? By engaging with your thoughts in this way, you're actually teaching your mind that it's safe to change and grow. So here's my challenge to you on top of your 5-minute reflection. Just take a moment and just reflect on that self-sabotage and just ask yourself, what is this really about? We often get into the spiral of the mind, some of the distortions that come up. And so you can head in that direction, the spiral, or you can ask yourself, okay, what is this really about? And be honest with yourself. Get to that root. So I hope this video was helpful to get you start thinking differently about self-sabotage. And I would love for you to share in the comments below. Each time that you make a comment, it really allows others to see that they're not by themselves on this journey, including yourself. And if you're ready to go deeper, don't forget to check out my Resistance Reset Bootcamp. It's a hands-on 8-week experience to help you uncover and overcome the hidden patterns that are holding you back. And for those who say yes to becoming beta participants, my gift to you is 50% off, but only if you join the waitlist. The link is in the description below. All right, so next week we're tackling the root of self-sabotage, which is self-worth. If you ever felt like you're not good enough or you can't seem to quiet that inner critic that's in your mind just floating around every time you try to do something. So that video is going to show you the surprising steps to reclaim your confidence and believe in yourself again. It's a conversation that you don't want to miss. It's a deep dive that you don't want to miss. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you found value in the video and it helped you in some way, I would really appreciate it if you just like, subscribe, share with somebody that you believe might benefit from hearing this message. As always, I will see you on the other side of change.